I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's do it to it, right?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right. Hello there. Welcome to episode 26 of Rice on the Mics. I am your host, Ian Rice, and today's show is a perfect New York sampler plate. A little bit of hope, a little bit of chaos, and a hell of a whole lot of Advil. Here's the plan. We start with the locals first. Giants rolled out rookie Jackson Dart, showed some poise, called himself mid, threw a dart to Little Jordan Humphrey. I know that's going to get old quick. And we'll hear a little bit of juice from top pick Abdul Carter. The Jets, well, Justin Fields flashed that, oh right, he runs a 4.4 speed on a scoring drive. And just as quickly, the injury bug reminded everyone that its code at the facility is still working. Tyrod Taylor gets a knee scope, preseason wrap, and the QB2 plan is suddenly thin. We'll also hit on why Breece Hall might be the Jets wide receiver 2 in disguise this year. Then we'll zoom out, quick little NFL whirl around the league, talk some Joe Burrow, some Sean Payton, a little John Gruden. And then from there, well, we'll step on a rake and we'll head over to New York baseball. The Mets have turned blown leads into performance art. 5-0 lead gone in Milwaukee. 6-0 lead gone to the Braves. 9-run inning that felt like a throwback, and even more soul-crushing blown saves. Meanwhile, the Yankees handled Minnesota mostly, but nearly got no hit by Houston, all while Jose Altuve hits home run number 250 in your backyard. Judge still doesn't look right. Goldie has a knee scare, and Garrett Cole threw off flat ground, whatever that means. So we'll sort out what's real and what's the Bronx noise. And then, to scratch that fantasy football itch, we close with a loaded segment to give you the early edge on your league mates. Camp injuries that could affect multiple players, some year 2 breakout candidates, value players, and some bust red flags, even a little super flex strategy for those 2 quarterback leagues that are out there. You can stop guessing, you can start stealing some value. So pour your coffee, get comfy, avoid your boss, and listen up. Giants and Jets are up first. New York football, come on down.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
There's a party at MetLife this week, and you're invited. Okay, that was kind of corny, but it's true. Both teams are scrimmaging in practice, and the Big Apple Bowl or the Snoopy Bowl or whatever they're calling it nowadays is this week. So that'll be fun. But let's get on the Giants first. Some quick heat from last week, if you will. Jackson Dart, first NFL action, looked exactly what Brian Daboll probably scribbled on the bar napkin, to be honest with you. 12 of 19, 154 yards, threw a touchdown, 24 extra yards on the ground. And that touchdown was that, that's why we traded back in sigh of relief throw. A 28-yard sideline dart to Little Jordan Humphrey with pressure in his face. Look, if this kid turns out to be the next savior of the G-Men, Dart throws a dart is going to be the most overused and annoying line that you're going to hear. But if you're a Giants fan, you hope to hear it for a long time, not just a season or two. And in true 22-year-old rookie fashion, Dart walked off calling his performance mid. And I hate to say it, I kind of love that. I mean, look, everybody knows if you're going to play quarterback here in this market, you have to always be humble and say the right things and have some self-awareness. You almost have to have self-awareness as a superpower. So that's good to hear from the kid. Russell Wilson did his veteran thing. He goes 6 for 7. And with that kind of accuracy, Malik Neighbors' talent, Giants could maybe be halfway decent if their schedule wasn't such a gauntlet. And then we got our second half tour. Jameis Winston comes in respectable, 7 for 11, 62 yards and a touchdown. And Tommy Cutlets, he's the odd man now. He's going to get cut. But trying to show other teams why he can still play, be that clipboard Jesus. 10 for 14, 73 yards, throws a touchdown, kept the operation clean. Giants got the win. That's all you could ask for, right? big shout out to Abdul Carter, too. The kid only played 6 snaps, and he had 2 quarterback pressures. That's how you leave a calling card. And look, barring any major injuries, 2 things. If Carter grades out how he looks and the stones on him to ask for LT's number, you might be able to fit him with that gold jacket sooner rather than later. And if he turns out to be as good as he looks right now, not only is he going to elevate the rest of that defense, that D-line could be something pretty formidable. I mean, maybe even top 5 this year. And that's going to be the only thing that's really going to be able to keep them in these games. Because, look, the offense is going to be what it's going to be. Malik Neighbors is a beast, but Russell Wilson is old, and you're banking on a rookie to carry you where you need to be. Same thing with Scatabo, too, or Tracy fumbling the ball. Defense is going to keep them in games. Russell Wilson is just good enough and just good of a veteran to win you a couple more. Might be enough to save Daboll and Shane their jobs. Daboll's note post-game was the right one, too. Temper expectations. He said, quote, "It's one preseason game. We were efficient. We were aggressive. We were confident. Check all the boxes. But there's still a bunch to clean up." That's good stuff. That's what you want to hear. Don't go out there and say we're going to win the goddamn Super Bowl. And now we get some good stuff this week, too. 2 joint practices with the Jets before their annual preseason game. 2 good defenses and 2 offenses that are trying to prove themselves. So if you're going to the game on Saturday, I'm already in football mode. Bring your sunscreen. It's going to be a hot one. And maybe bring your own whistle because it might get a little chippy. So speaking of the Jets, flashes of speed, and the trenches looked solid. Justin Fields gave you exactly 1 drive and made it count. Goes 3 for 4, throws for 42, and he had a 13-yard touchdown scramble on a 3rd and 5 where he basically pressed turbo and got away from everybody. Now, watching the film back, I thought that he might have had a guy open on that TD run, but the fact that he has that in his tool bag is incredibly refreshing as a Jets fan. Hell, the last time I saw a mobile quarterback wearing a Jets uniform, it was Michael Vick, and that was way past his prime. But more important than the box score, the big takeaway that you and I care about as Jets fans, and in August, for that matter, is the offensive line looked the part. That's what was touted. They didn't take the sexy pick in the tight end in the draft. They took Membu. He had 10 pass sets, 0 hurries, and no blown assignments. And there were holes the size of a semi-truck that you could drive through. The Jets, it's so nice. They seem to be getting back to that 2010, 2009, ugly, hard-nosed, ground and pound, will kick your ass with our defense and then make you hate our offense style. And the defense and special teams, by the way, were no slouches. 4 sacks. They got 2 takeaways, and that turned into 10 points, which you never see that from a Jets defense anymore. And Jay Tufele, our newest American Samoan long-haired monster up the middle, falls on a strip sack in the end zone. And he immediately does his best replacement imitation and runs the ball right to Aaron Glenn. "You get me that ball, Danny. I got you the ball. You get me the ball." This is how an identity starts. Steal possession. Cash it in. Go home on time. God. Not all sunshine and rainbows, though, unfortunately. Tyrod Taylor had a knee scope, and Aaron Glenn called it minor, but he's done for the preseason and probably week 1 and more. So that leaves Adrian Martinez and Brady Cook behind Fields. 2 names that I have never heard of in my life. And Cook, I guess the 5th string, 3rd, whatever, did limp off with an ankle during practice. So, translation. The QB2 insurance plan for a franchise that is religiously snake-bitten with injuries just got very thin, very fast. Alan Lazard is out too, apparently. Not that, we're really counting him for much, but Garrett Wilson is really the only real receiver on this team, so would help for a little bit of a pro like Allen Lazard to be out there. But he's going to be out 2 weeks or so. We'll see how that goes. But there is better news. Both Quinnen Williams and Jermaine Johnson were back at practice, even at a limited capacity, but they were back at practice. And those are two guys that are incredibly important, not only to the pass rush, but just the overall defense and the mindset and the mentality. And speaking of mentality, while we're here, let's talk about building the culture. We've been talking, this has been the theme all offseason for the Jets. Last week, the building had alumni everywhere. Kevin Mawai, oh, God, do we miss him. He's telling guys, you want to own this town, you want to be the best in this town, you just got to win. Ray Mickens saying Justin Fields can be the one. Glenn also imported real game management habits from Detroit. He said that he always used to sit in on Dan Campbell's Saturday meetings and is staying true to his word about changing how much this team has been penalized over the last couple of years. After a stupid, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, he grabbed the player right away and dressed him down in front of everybody, showing how much he means business. Details. Details win close games. And it's nice to see a hard-ass coach his players the same way. Shit, to quote great football movie Any Given Sunday, on any given Sunday, you can win or lose. The point is, can you win or lose like a man? And that seems to be something that Glenn is instilling in these young, fierce, talented players. I'm so excited to watch this defense this year. Now, I talked about the Jets not having a true wide receiver opposite of Garrett Wilson. So I want to talk about Breece Hall here. And I want to file this under things that we've been yelling as Jet fans into an empty void, apparently. The Jets are going to start splitting Breece Hall out wide and let him run a real route tree. He's already led running backs in combined receiving yards over 2023-2024 season, which is why my next statement is going to be even more eye-opening. So stay with me here, okay? We dig into stats. We look around here. Let's look at Breece Hall's usage. Over the last 2 years, he's had 125 snaps at either the slot or the wideout spot. Now, compare that to Bijan Robinson's 207 and Rashad White 158. There is so much money left on the table by not splitting him out wide. And the staff knows it, and they see it, and they're building his tree. Even a mic'd up Aaron Glenn told Breece at practice, this is where your game opens up. A mismatch against any safety or linebacker. I mean, we saw it on the tape last year. Week 2 against the Titans. Rodgers checks, splits him out, gets him ISO on a linebacker, and he ripped a go ball down the boundary, over the shoulder, boom, right in the basket, feet in. Now, there's a lot of promise, but there's 2 small bugaboos that I'm not super worried about, but I do need to mention. With only 125 snaps over the last 2 years, he did have 6 drops last year, which was a career high. And when you empty him out of the backfield, the pass protection gets a little bit trickier. But a beefed up O-line and finally a quarterback with some real mobility, there should be some more passing lanes open for sure. This is a contract year, and I'm one of the few in the camp that actually wants to trade Breece Hall, and I want to trade him to the Cowboys for Micah Parsons. I kind of want a young Joe Klecko again. But look, if that doesn't happen, he's received no extension, and there isn't one expected to come before week 1. He's already 11th in scrimmage yards per game at 90 yards since 2022. He's going to have a monster year. And then he's going to try and get paid. So if he has a monster year with the Jets and the Jets don't want to pay him, that's fine. Because if Garrett Wilson is the sun in this offense, Breece can be the moon, and he's going to be a very, very bright one. Okay, now with the locals out of the way, let's touch on a couple things around the league that I kind of want to speak on. So some news came out that Joe Burrow for MVP is officially the public's favorite parlay sprinkle, garnish. Little bam, if you will. So BetMGM has him on 14% of their tickets and at a handle of about 23%, which is a big number. He's their biggest liability, so much so that his odds have shortened from plus 700 to plus 600. So Lamar Jackson is still the favorite at plus 550, followed by Josh Allen at plus 600 and Mahomes at plus 7, which I think is also a pretty good bet. I think they got embarrassed in the Super Bowl last year, and they're going to come out firing. But Burrow's 2024 was electric. Guy threw for almost 5,000 yards, 4,918, okay? Just short of 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, and only 9 picks. Look, if he's not a tier 1 quarterback, he's tier 1.5. Hell, he's tier 1.25. Sean Payton, meanwhile, he just cannot help himself talking shit. Ever. Last year it was Sauce. Now it's Caleb Williams. In American Kings, a biopic that you definitely missed, he aired out Caleb Williams, saying his processing speed was concerning when thinking about drafting him, and that he left open throws on the field, whereas his counterparts in Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix were better, were quicker, and were more comfortable. Well, you know what? Year 1, tail of the tape. Caleb, not a bad year for a rookie. 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks, 62% completion rate. Not bad. Bo Nix, 3,700 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 picks, 66% completion percentage. So, look, is that an honest scouting assessment or is it a victory lap in August? I'm going to say yes to both. But I still think Caleb will figure it out under Ben Johnson. But the pressure on this kid is getting heavier and heavier by the day. So I wish him the best. And lastly, something to keep a pretty serious eye on. The Nevada Supreme Court voted 5-2 in favor of John Gruden's case that can now proceed in court. Not a forced Goodell arbitration for a former employee. And the Supreme Court went as far as to calling it unconscionable. So the NFL is going to seek a rehearing. But if this stays in a public courtroom, all of the NFL's dirty laundry is going to get aired out. And the public is going to judge them because I'm pretty sure they have been hiding a bunch of shit. So hold on to your butts, people. Hell, that's part of the reason why they bought ESPN. Or they bought into ESPN, I should say. Or ESPN bought into them, however the fuck it works. Do you think that the biggest sports network, now that NFL is a part of it, or they bought it, is do you think you're ever going to hear a bad story about the NFL? No, that's press cleanup right there. They're willing to spend that money. They don't care. And guess what? Gruden's going to have his day in court, and it's going to get aired out. And I bet you we don't see a lot of coverage on it on ESPN. But all right, that is your NFL block. The Giants are steady. The Jets are intriguing with a little bit of a depth chart headache. And the national drumbeat that is the NFL is doing what it does. So up next, we are going to go from MetLife to Mets Life, the baseball roller coaster. And I think I want to get off at this point. We'll dive into blowing 2 6-run leads in 48 hours and how the Yankees can find a way to duct tape a bat to Aaron Judge's hands. Stick around. Okay, from MetLife to Mets Life. Let's talk some baseball. And allow me to be your angry vessel for these teams. Allow me to vent your frustrations before New York collectively throws a remote at the fucking flat screen TV. Okay? Last week, oh, God, I'm fucking angry already. Last week, I kicked it off with the Yankees. and even going so far as to almost sound like a Yankee fan ranting about them. But today we start with the vitriol that I have for the Mets right now. Honestly, it seems like every damn day they find a new creative way to get my hopes up, look like they are turning the corner, and then throw my heart in a blender like an Eve 6 song. Want to throw my tender heart in a blender, watch it spin around to a beautiful oblivion. That's what I feel like watching this team lately. Big picture first. This team has gone from 5 games up in the East to now 5.5 back. They dropped 12 of the last 14. 12 of the last 14. And the main theme of the whole thing, leads. Just evaporating. Just gone. And on top of it, the schedule is about to stop being nice and polite and start getting really real. August is Atlanta, a red-hot Seattle, a young, hungry Washington team, and then back to Atlanta. After that, it's a gauntlet of playoff teams. 7 with Philly still. Detroit is mixed in there. Oh, God, they're going to be cooked if they keep this way up. To the receipts. Sunday in Milwaukee. 7-6 loss. They're up 5. They're up 5-0. William Contreras knocks in 2. Joey Ortiz ties it in the 8th. And Isaac Collins walks off Edwin Diaz in the 9th. One of his 3 blown saves on the year. Okay, sweet, fine. Brewers have been the hottest team in baseball. I'll let it slide. Okay. Quinn Prester hasn't lost since May 13th. Got tagged for 6 runs on 10 hits in 4 1/3. And the Mets still couldn't close it. All right, fine. Nice little breath of fresh air. They come back home. Alonso breaks the franchise home run record and then doubles it up, hits another one because why not? Followed by Francisco Alvarez going deep twice in the same game. Beatty and Nimmo also homer. And you're starting to think, okay, they took care of business last year against the Braves. They aren't going to have our number anymore. Things are going to turn the corner, right? No, wrong. Wednesday, up 6-0. Our ace, David Peterson, in the game, 6-0 lead. This game's in the bag. The Braves fucking put up 9 runs in the 4th. Bases loaded, Ryan Stanek. Michael Harris hits the grand slam. Then Marcell Ozuna adds a 2-run homer later, putting the nail in the coffin. The game's out of reach. It's the biggest Atlanta inning since 2020. And you want to take a guess the last time they had that big of an inning? Yep, it was against the Mets. Mets pitchers issued 4 walks in that inning. You can't gift wrap runs for that lineup, even if they are struggling and they are dead in the water. It's like the Jets beating the Pats in Week 17. They live to crush your soul. Okay, fine. Rubber match. Sang on the hill. You stand a good chance, right? Mets go up. They give it right back. They go up again, 3-2 in the 7th. And this monster bullpen that we traded for, guess what? Immediately fucking gives it up. They tie it in the 7th. The closer we got from St. Louis gives up the lead in the 8th. And in the 9th, which was Alonso, McNeil, and Mullins, 4-5-6, all swung at the first pitch. Atlanta closed the door with 11 pitches. This club isn't just losing games. It's coughing them up like a hacked lung. The one maybe small encouraging note is that help is coming. They finally called up one of their stud pitchers, young kids, in Noah McLean. He's going to pitch on Saturday. He's 24, the 3rd best prospect in our system. Went 8-5 with a 2.4 ERA over between Double and Triple A. And he punched out 127 strikeouts in 113 innings. So, look, he's got a super nice fastball. He's got a great sweeper. He's one of 3 or 4 all-star pitching prospects the Mets have in their system. And he's the first from the 2023 draft to reach the show. I'm sorry, enough with being scared of calling up the young talent. It's one thing if they have to fight for a position because only one person can play third or there's only one DH. But pitching is completely different. If a guy is having a hot year, you ride the hot hand. The days of the Wilpons are over and waiting to call guys up due to contract concerns or an extra year of control. That shit's done. This is the Uncle Stevie era, and this team is built to win right now. You have guys like McLean and Sproat and Jonah Tong wasting bullets in double and triple A. Call these kids up and let them prove they belong. Hell, the Mets haven't had a pitcher get out of the 5th inning since fucking June. Have these kids come up and then go 6-7 to support that. The arm only has so many bullets in the gun. Stop wasting those bullets in AAA. Look, the rotation for the Mets is a respectable 3-7. It's not bad. It's not great. But nobody is going deep. Nobody's getting out of the 5th inning. The only one that's doing it is Peterson, and he just blew that last time. Frankie Montas, which is David Stern's first black mark on his ledger, is now getting moved to the pen. And honestly, I don't even want him getting called on. Even veterans like Paul Blackburn are raving about McLean's mound demeanor and his presence. Read the room then, man. Like, let's go. Get these guys up. Mendoza said, we feel good about him giving us a chance to win. Great. That's awesome. They needed it yesterday. Get these kids up and get them going. Young kids want to prove they belong and will lay their life on the line when it comes to getting to the show. Shit, the Twins sold pretty much everyone on their team and had to call up 8 minor leaguers. Everyone and their mother bet against them. And what happened? They won their next 3 series in a row because, surprise, young, hungry kids want to prove that they're worth it at the show. Jesus Christ. I mean, and honestly, it doesn't get much better across town. The Yankees took care of business mostly against the Twins, but congrats. It's a team that you've literally lost to like 6 times now in the last 10 years. But before that series, Houston humbled you real good. They reminded you that they still have your number. Sunday, you get a 7-1 loss. Jason Alexander, a no-name rookie with a 5 ERA, goes out and throws 1 hit ball through 6 innings. And probably the most hated player on the field, Jose Altuve, in your own backyard, hits career homer number 250. At this point, if the Yankees don't miss the playoffs and you have to run into the Stros in the wild card and lose, oh my God, Yankee fans might riot. Aaron Boone gets tossed in the 3rd of that game because what else is new? And for the record, Booney, you constantly getting tossed and fighting with umpires, one, it's not going to rekindle that spark that you got from Gardner slamming the top of the dugout with the bat. And 2, word travels between umpires. Look, not to be that guy, I have a family friend who is an MLB crew chief, right? They cannot stand you. And you're way, way less likely to get the benefit of the doubt on a call when subconsciously the umpires don't like you. And know that you're looking to show them up and challenge them. Anyway, I digress. The key moment of that game, 7th inning, bases loaded, 1 out, squeeze out a sac fly, and then Brian Abreu comes in, slams the door, retires Wells, Judge, and Bellinger in the 8th in that order. Also, Carlos Correa is swinging like he never left. He's stacked multi-hit nights since rejoining Houston. They're quietly becoming a real problem in the AL. So anyway, okay, on to Monday's game. Get the win, 6-2. Awesome. Will Warren, first Yankee in a month to record an out in the 7th inning. 6 2/3, 3 hits. Okay. Bellinger, Stanton, Ben Rice all go yard. Stanton and Rice go back-to-back. Awesome. Cool. Tuesday, 9-1. Big win against the Twins. Rodon looks back to normal. 7 innings pitched. 1 hit. After, honestly, a rocky 31-pitch first inning, which is usually his MO, for a blow-up, but he figured it out. So, okay, good. So we're looking good. We're here. No problem. Stanton continues to stay hot, and that kind of causes a problem for this lineup. He had his first 4-hit game since August 2023, but is he going to DH? Do we want to watch him in the field? Watching him in the field is like, watching a dog chase a car. It's like, you know something bad is going to happen. Like, whoa, take it easy. Stop chasing that ball. But Judge cracks one too. Judge got on the board, cracked his first home run since July 23rd. Volpe hits another 3-run shot, and that breaks it open. And this all sounds well and good. But yet again, it's another example of the all-or-nothing Yankee offense. Because Wednesday, against an actual ace, Joe Ryan, he goes 6 2/3 with 7 strikeouts. The Twins start to rally in the 6th, started with 2 little infield hits, and then Cody Clemens, who's 0 for 18, rips a 2-strike, 2-run double. Royce Lewis added another one. That's 4 runs, and that's the 7th loss to the Twins in the last 5 years for the Yankees. The quiet but loud secret to this team is this. The offense always has and always will flow through Aaron Judge. And you can see it. Judge isn't fully himself yet. The swing decisions are fine, but the pressure to perform and carry the team when he probably needs a little more time is actually hurting more than it's helping. And now Goldschmidt has a low-grade knee sprain. Look, if he sits, you're going to get Ben Rice and Cody Bellinger first. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing, but Goldie has had a big fall-off from his .330 hitting in the beginning of the season. On the upside, I guess, Garrett Cole hit a nice rehab mile marker. I mean, he threw 20 pitches off flat ground. So that's your ace. That's your guy. The plan is a normal offseason 14-month arc type deal. Look, if he comes back strong and healthy next year, the rotation of the Yankees with Cole, Fried, Colon, Gill, and Schlittler, that's gonna be a serious force of contention. But that's next year. The Yankees should be worried about right now. They should be worried about not finishing 3rd in their division. They had a 7-game lead on Toronto, and now they trail by 6.5. All right, look, let's zoom out. The Yankees took 2 or 3 from Minnesota and looked the part in 2 of them, right? Houston reminded that when Judge doesn't carry, the bats can go quiet, and they still kind of have your number. And the alumni chorus from the old-timers day, without Jeter, by the way, put a lot of heat on these new age Yankees. So the truth kind of lies in the middle, right? Look, it's August baseball. Survive the bumps, bank the wins that you're supposed to, and get your horses healthy and lock it in when it comes September. All right. I'm done ranting. I'm done. That's New York on the diamond. The Mets need McLean to be a grown-up today, and the Yankees need Judge to like Judge yesterday. Time to catch your breath, though. Up next, what you've been waiting for, fantasy football block. I've got injuries you got to plan around, year 2 breakouts, real late round sleepers, some value picks, and a little super flex strategy. Stay tuned so you can stay atop of your league. Here we are, fantasy time. Grab the draft board, cue up a shit-talking text to your group chat, and let's make you dangerous. I got value picks, bust flags, must-have wide receivers, quick little running back consistency reality check, and we'll finish off with a Superflex sprinkle for those 2 QB leagues out there. And I'll even weave in a little strength of schedule as we go, just so you know where the wind's blowing. So we'll start off with values and how to win your draft in the boring rounds. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the rounds where kind of the rookies don't know where to go and the pros kind of overthink things. These are going to be some rapid fire hits. So make sure you have your finger on that rewind button. Okay? First off, DeAndre Swift. ADP already feels kind of sleepy for a guy who's popped before with Ben Johnson. Chicago rebuilt their entire offensive line. Thuney, Jonah Jackson, Dahlman, drafted rookie Ozzie Traplio? I think that's how you say that. Whatever. Either way. And Swift has shown top 15 per game juice when he's actually schemed correctly and schemed in space. Not to mention the Bears' running back strength of schedule is a 3-star. So it's in the middle. It's neutral. It's not a cheat, but it's not a trap. The red zone quirk with Swift is real, but that's where Kyle Managa Guy, Jesus, these names are terrible. That's where that contingency plan comes into effect later in the year. Look, he's a big, strong back, and he'll be able to hammer it home. But the bottom line is Swift's floor is higher than people remember. And his ceiling is still pretty explosive. So definitely worth a late round value pick. Next on the list, Jordan Mason, Minnesota. If your league mates don't respect him, good. That's your edge. Because the metrics absolutely love him. He's got explosive run rate. He breaks tackles and has an exceptional yards after contact stat. And Kevin O'Connell keeps calling it a 1A, 1B with Aaron Jones. But Jordan Mason is definitely going to get a bunch of play this year. Vikings running back strength schedule, also a 3-star, which is perfectly fine. Because, honestly, Jordan Mason's probably going to get the goal line tilts. And if that's the case, he's going to get yardage and some goal line carries. Every week he's going to be a flex, maybe some RB2 spikes. And where he's going right now, he's priced as like a 10th round bench guy. Players like that are exactly how you build a winning roster. While everybody's scrambling, you get a guy in the 10th that has RB2 flexibility. A couple quick nods. Buffalo, because it's the same AFC East schedule, they have a super easy schedule, and their running back strength of schedule is a 4-star. So it's very strong. James Cook just got paid, has super high efficiency. He's an RB2 with weekly upsides of explosive plays. Green Bay, also a 4-star running back strength of schedule, which is great for Jacobs. And sneaky good, too, because Jordan Love just had some hand surgery. It's non-invasive on his thumb. But, look, Jordan Love's going to throw the ball a bunch. Late in games, though, when they're up, they're going to pound the fuck out of the rock. And Josh Jacobs is a 3-down back that's going to get it. Now, on to the bust flags. And I don't mean anything bad by this. All these players are good players, but where you would have to get them, it's bad prices or bad context in how they play. So first on the list is DJ Moore. Look, I love DJ Moore as a player, but I hate the math. He's sharing targets with Rome Odunze, and they just drafted Colson Loveland and Luther Burden. And it's a scheme that leans towards the run. They got Ben Johnson over there now. He's coming from Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. DeAndre Swift is for sure going to get the chance to be the bell cow back. And he's going to want to split them out wide and do tosses and dump offs. So I hate the math. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and 2 other rookies, plus a really good pass catching back. And not to mention the Bears wide receiver strength of schedule is a 2-star, which is tough. So look, if you're drafting Moore at his top 20 wide receiver price, you're kind of going to need everything to break your way, and that's a fragile bet. Now, look, if he falls, yeah, don't be afraid to take him, but where he's going in drafts right now, I don't know if it's really worth it. Next on the list, Jared Goff. Speaking of Ben Johnson, there is a touchdown rate regression coming. Ben Johnson's gone, and the Lions reshuffled their O-line a little bit. The quarterback strength of schedule is a 2-star also. It's pretty tough. They got a lot of tough corners to play. Look, Goff remains a strong real-life quarterback. I would take him on the Jets in a heartbeat, but the fantasy elevator, might have a couple fewer stops this year. Next, Kyren Williams. And I know, the monster volume is there. But it's at meh efficiency. Not to mention Blake Corum, Jaquez Hunter. They're going to steal some carries. And the addition of Devontae Adams, he's going to take away some premium red zone looks. He's not a complete avoid, but just be prepared for a couple stinker weeks. The Rams' running back strength schedule is a 3, so middle of the pack. Fine. And he'll catch some passes out of the backfield, but I don't know, man. If carries and inside the 5 tilt even a little bit away from Kyren, the price you're paying for him at RB1, it's a heavy tag. And that also falls on David Montgomery too. Look, David Montgomery is one of my favorite football players to just like watch finish a run, just put his head down and buck people. But he's also the fantasy poster child for great floor, not a great big ceiling. Again, another new coordinator and offensive line regression for the Lions. Their running back strength of schedule is very tough. He'll pay the bills. He will. But he might not buy you the beach house either. In the same division, too, the other one, Aaron Jones. Look, he's coming off a career-high touch season, and he's 30 years old, and he's sharing time with Jordan Mason. Same thing, running back strength of schedule is a 3-star, so it's middle of the pack. And Jones is definitely still a baller, but 30 years old and being where he's drafted, it's his ceiling is a little higher than his usage, you know? Okay, now on to receivers. And these are 3 must-have. I will not be leaving my draft without one wide receivers, okay? First on the list, George Pickens. Okay, new zip code, new life. Dallas, no one in the NFC East has won the division in back-to-back years for 15 years. So the Eagles are already out. And I love Jaden Daniels, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a sophomore slump. And Dak Prescott, if he can stay healthy, can finish as a top 5 quarterback in the league. So Dallas is already going to be pass heavy. Their starting running back is Javonte Williams, for God's sakes. Most targets are going to be around CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, and a little bit of sprinkle of Jake Ferguson too. So one of them is going to get double teamed. And my money is on CD getting double-teamed and Pickens being open over the middle consistently. Not to mention the Cowboys' wide receiver strength of schedule is a 2. So it's a little tough, but they're going to skew towards CD. This is a bet that I want to take. I will take Dak's efficiency with a lot of options. Pickens has superior downfield separation, and he's most of the time not going to see a safety over the top. Now, on to Devontae Adams. Don't overthink it. I know he's old. I know he's not with Aaron Rodgers. McVay condenses targets like few coaches in this league. and Adams' route running abilities, he hasn't lost a step. They're still elite. They're at a strength of schedule of a 3-star, so neutral, not too bad, not too good, but no speed bumps with Davante Adams. He is always going to be on the field, and he's going to be schemed open. And Stafford, when upright, to be fair, is the kingmaker for wide receiver ones. And it's the same common theme. I mean, they can't double-team Puka and Davante Adams. Somebody's going to have to be open. Puka's going to get his receptions, but Davante is going to command red zone touches. Last but not least, T. Higgins. T. Higgins is the easiest way to buy a top 3 passing game without paying that Jamar Chase tax. Bengals wide receiver strength of schedule is a 3. Their QB strength of schedule is a 2, which is a little tougher. But if there's anybody that laughs in the face of tough, it's Joe Burrow. And Cincy every year is top 3 in pass rate. Okay? So Higgins has the highest target share, has the highest yards per route run, he has the highest end zone looks, and you don't have to pick him in the first round. And even more, God forbid Jamar Chase misses any time, which he has before, Higgins immediately becomes an every week must-start wide receiver 1. So, that being said, those are the boom or bust, right? Those are the red flags to avoid. Those are the guys I want. Those are the receivers I want. Now it's time to talk about evening out your roster a little bit, right? So you get those guys with a high ceiling. Now we're talking about consistency. Guys that every week, their floor, nice good to 10 to 12 to 13 points, okay? And that's running back consistency. So there's consistent, and then there's consistently useful, right? So these are the guys that they're not going to put up 40 every week, but they're not going to disappoint either. So I want you to keep that in mind when I go over these next couple guys. And the first one on the list is David Montgomery. And I know, I just mentioned him before as someone who might not pay the bills. But he's a player who might be the best running back 2 in the league. And we're talking fantasy-wise here, right? So you're going to have your stud up top. David Montgomery is going to be your best running back 2 in the league. He's going to be the guy that every week you can count on him consistently. These are the guys that you grab after the first couple rounds that you've already gotten your big studs. And when your opponent looks at your roster, they go, oh, fuck, I have to go against Christian McCaffrey. I have to go against this. But really, what put you over the hump was David Montgomery with a solid 16. Okay? The other next guy on that list, Brian Robinson Jr. He's Monty Light. Got Jaden Daniels, little read option. You got, good receivers. And then you got Brian Robinson just sitting there. Bang, 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 hitting the line. All of a sudden you look up, he's got 13, 14 points. Washington's running back strength schedule is a little tough. They got to go against a bunch of tough D lines, but it's not the end of the world for a running back too. Now, on the flip side of this argument, if you're okay with chasing boom or bust players, or picking in the first early couple rounds, and you want that monster stud, I got a couple guys for you. Obviously, Saquon Barkley. I mean, that's easy money. That's whatever. Did you know he had 5 of the 15 best weeks last season? This running back strength of schedule for the Eagles is a 3. So, again, neutral. Not too bad. And you're going to have to pay the big price. And, drafting him is kind of pressing that weekly nuke button. But, again, if you're okay with some weeks of 50 and some weeks of 8, Saquon is 100% worth the first-round pick or the keeper selection. A couple other guys that fall in that context, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor. I know Joe Mixon is hurt right now, but he's a great stash, and when he comes back, he could be strong as hell. JT, they don't really know what's going on with quarterback over there. Daniel Jones isn't going to be able to sling it. So JT is probably going to get a bunch of the balls and a bunch of the dump off. But Alvin Kamara, I don't want to draft any wide receiver on the Saints. I don't want Chris Olave. I don't want any of them. The only player I maybe feel a little comfortable taking on the Saints is Alvin Kamara. They got a running back strength schedule of a 4, which is super soft. And New Orleans is going to be terrible. They don't even have anything that resembles an NFL quarterback. So it's just going to be dump off after dump off to Kamara. And look, he might be a little older, but when he gets in open space, he is still deadly. And last on the list for super volatility, Devin Achane. He is the number one volatility spectrum, okay? Miami's strength of schedule for running backs is a 4. AFC East sucks, and the teams that they're playing suck. So if you draft him, strap in and smile. But also be prepared for some 5-point games. The building rule to win your league is you want to pair a high floor back like Monty with that super high ceiling back like Saquon or A-Chain or, whatever. One keeps you afloat and the other wins you the matchup. That's the rule. That's how you win leagues. Now, for those people out there, for whatever reason, that play a super flex 2-quarterback league, I did the research. For you. Here is how you win a 2-quarterback league. Round 1, take the elite player. 10-man, 12-man, 8-man, whatever. Round 1, you aim for the stud. You get Josh Allen. You get Lamar. You get Jaden Daniels. You get Jalen Hurts. Joe Burrow. You grab one of those guys in the first round, okay? Now you play chicken, okay? While that big run on quarterback goes, start stacking monster players. Load up on running back and receiver. Load up on some tight ends that nobody wants to take. Because then once those idiots in your league are done drafting their 2 or 3 quarterbacks, all of a sudden there's nobody left on the board that they deem valuable because you have them all. And now all you need to draft is another QB2. So here are those guys, okay? Drake May. Sneaky rushing floor. He likes to run. He likes to take off the ball a little bit. Revamped roster. Pats have a couple weapons. And they have the easiest strength of schedule when it comes to quarterbacks. So that's a great pick. Green light. Okay? Next on the list, J.J. McCarthy. He's got elite weapons around him. Shit, if Justin Jefferson can be a monster with Sammy Darnold, something tells me the J.J. to J.J. connection this year is going to be a nice, strong one. Great late-round pickup. Bryce Young. I know. Look, he's looked meh at best. But year 2, same system, and now they have drafted a legit wide receiver 1 in Tetratoa McMillan. If they can get down into the red zone, he is going to get so many targets at 6'5", and he has great hands. Love Bryce Young late. And the best one of all, Michael Penix Jr. Great quarterback schedule, 4-star, so strength of schedule is super easy. He's honestly, he's a back-end QB1 at like QB3 prices. Drake London, Ray McLeod, Bijan Robinson, hell, even Kyle Pitts. He has a plethora of options to throw to. He's so worth the late-round price. Honestly, if you can snag him as your QB2 in a 2-quarterback league, he'll win you your league alone. Now, a couple guys, if you whiff on all those targets, Tua, if he can stay healthy, him and Tyreek, always great. Trevor Lawrence, we're still waiting for him to blossom, but he does have Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. Jordan Love has about 15 receivers, so we'll see. And honestly, Geno Smith could be good too. Ashton Janty's going to take a lot of guys in the box. Brock Bowers is going to flourish again. So to recap, some value players, Swift and Mason. Some bust flags to maybe avoid. DJ Moore, Jared Goff, Kyron Williams. Monty at cost. Aaron Jones at cost, I guess. Some wide receivers that I am absolutely must have. Pickens, Adams, and Higgins. And some options on the Superflex. Drake May, Penix. Definitely two guys worth taking. If you can pair them with an elite early quarterback, you'll be sitting pretty the whole year. Next episode is our full-on hour-long fantasy-only extravaganza. The Mets could beat the Yankees in Game 7 of the World Series, and I will only be covering fantasy football next week. We will take all of these names and many, many more. We'll map them out to early season strength of schedules, each position, the depth chart, who's the handcuffs, who to draft, where to draft them for value, everything you need to know to win your league. And don't be shy either. Feel free to either call the show or DM me with your fantasy questions. More than likely, you're not the only one with the problems that you have for your league. So let's get your predicament on the show. Let's get everybody to hear it, and I'll give you the best advice I can possibly give you. Okay, that was fun. But that's your fantasy run for now. So let's close this thing out, shall we? All right. That's episode 26 in the books. Today we hit it all. Giants steady with Jackson Dart's quote-unquote mid-debut. That was anything but. Jets flashing speed and grit while unlocking Breece Hall is a matchup nightmare. New York baseball doing New York baseball things. Mets keep finding new ways to break our hearts while Noah McLean rides in with a cavalry helmet. Yankees mostly handled the Twins, but got reality checked by Houston and now need Judge healthy more than anything ever. And we wrapped it up with a fantasy clinic. Values to target, bust flags to avoid, must-have wideouts, running back consistency floors, and a super flex plan you could honestly run closing your eyes. Next week, we are going full fantasy special. We'll map those strength of schedule nuggets, depth chart, handcuff targets, and we'll have you 4-0 by the end of September before your league even wakes up and sees what you're doing. So, if you like the show, do the nice things for me. Follow, rate, review, share with a friend who drafts 2 defenses and calls it a strategy. Hit me on Instagram or Twitter, both at Rice on the Radio. Send in your hot takes or some sleeper picks. I read everything that's sent to me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And honestly, if you're feeling real adventurous, call the show. 732-588-6869. Once again, I am your host, Ian Rice. A huge thank you for tuning in. Be good to each other, stay hydrated, and as always, spread good energy in this world. And tell someone you love them. I'll catch you next week. Stay up.